Greetings and welcome to the 1-6 Scale Man proudly presents, you know what it is, Sunday Fun Day with the crew. It's Collectors Lounge International. How you doing? LR for the 1-6 Scale Man YouTube channel. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on this video and others if you haven't already. On our way to 4,000 subscribers, so definitely trying to get there before the end of the year, man. Like pretty much, like I said, I'm taking my time. When it happens, but you know, again, I'm enjoying the ride, but I do basically would like to actually have everybody on board. So thank you for being here. We got a lot of things to talk about, a couple things we're going to talk about today, and then also preparation for this week, because this week we already know how it works. The beginning of the week, it's summer showcase, it's the Toy Fair exclusives, it's Sideshow Con. So there's going to be a lot of predictions thrown out of what people think. So the thing is, here to temper the expectations and your perception, because the shit that you might think that you might receive and like, yo, we might get this or we're going to get that. Please temper that, because I don't want you to embarrass yourselves if you're not, because we know how it works. If something does not drop that you think will drop, there's going to be arguments going across every group. Oh, Hot Toys is a bag of shit. No, they didn't promise you anything. Trust me, they didn't tell you that you would want to get anything. You just set your expectations to get certain things and based on what you want. So, I mean, it's not their fault. So, again, just temper your expectations, enjoy the ride, and let's just see what happens. But it's always good to speculate. And what better way to speculate than to have a crew of individuals on this panel that literally are aficionados when it comes to speculations. And we're going to actually move into that territory. Let's see what's going down, man. How y'all doing today? We got none other than KeCo Collects back in the building. I was able to clear budget after a year hiatus, and also consider the simple fact that there's strikes and everything going on, so the budget was cleared. And so glad to have you here, KeCo. How you doing, bro?
It hasn't really been a year. I mean, it's been a minute.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't been a year.
Okay, I was gonna say,
wow. I mean, I was just being, just sarcastic.
I understand. But I was gonna say, if it had been a year and that we had not been together since, then that is on me for not reaching back out to say, where's my ticket to get back in here. But yeah, as I said, we're working out those different strikes and proposals, the SAG and all those different things. Yes, I'm here because I have nothing else to be doing. So but one of the things I liked, as soon as your little logo came up, it said enjoy the entertainment. So yes, that is what we're going to have here today with all this lovely panel, because when it comes to speculation, I love to get dirty and down with that, because so we have a lot of fun planned. And man, what a great little panel. What's up, everybody?
Let's go, bro. So glad to have you here. Marco, what's going on with you, man? I mean, looking clean. You shaved, bro. You know what? Honestly, you look like you're preparing for the military right now, bro.
Wow,
you do.
My barber is like 80 years old, so he basically gave me a cut like I was going off to war, so it makes sense. But man, it's too damn hot over here. The beard had to go. We got back-to-back 108-degree days, so I am sweating right now. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Here's the thing, bro. Like, it was crazy. See, people were clowning me. They've been clowning me now for like a couple of weeks, because me and Toya have gotten back into bike riding now. I'm not able to run like I used to, because I have like a shin splint. My doctor said that, look, do not run for a while. Like, let it heal, because you're just going to make it worse. Yeah. So he said, just ride. So me and Toya have been riding. And I've been putting my sauna suit on because, like I said, I'm just cutting water weight. Now, I don't really need to, but I've just been cutting certain things out, whatever, just to, I do this every summer to kind of get lean and everything, to stay lean for like the wintertime and stuff like that. I put photos up. People were like, clown. He's like, yo, it's 90-some degrees outside of you. I'm like, yo, you don't understand. I do this every year. I'm used to it. I know what days to do it, what not to, and when not to. But yesterday it did rain. So, it rained last night, but the majority of the day was really good. So, yeah, I'm familiar with the heat, bro. It's like, but it's an inconsistent summer here in the East Coast. So I don't know. It is just
all over the map. Yeah, man. It's kind of the same here. Like one day we'll have, 75, the next we got 108. So it keeps us guessing. But in terms of keeping us guessing, to temper everyone's expectations, if you want a specific figure from Hot Toys, just expect the opposite. So if you're expecting Endor Han Solo, then you're going to get Venomized, whatever the heck. So that's the best way to expect.
That's the best way to look at it, bro. Like, don't expect the unexpected. Prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. That's what it is.
Beautiful.
But just don't point fingers, because it was your fault for speculating or setting your expectations so high. Dan, cheating ass Dan, Cad Dan in the building, bro. What's going on with you, bro?
Not much, man. I'm still kind of sleepy. From my coffee here. But yeah, thanks for the invite as always, man. First time streaming with KeCo. Excited, and yeah, Marco, you're all right.
Wow, that's the highest praise I've ever gotten from Dan, honestly.
Yeah, that's
no, just kidding. I love Marco. Yeah, no, I'm chilling.
Yeah,
happy
man.
to be here, man.
Thank you for being here, bro, as always, man. And before we actually dive into today's topics, let me address the chat real quick. We got my lady in the building, Latoya T. Thank you for being here, baby, as always. AJ Agrus is here. Who else we got? We got my man Malika Mabane in the building. Thank you for being here, bro. Tui Quest. We got Mark. Oh man, come on, man. You already know what it is. Miguel in the building. Macho Beard himself. We got Renz Talentino. Big Dog Pound 1 is here with us as well. Who else we got? The talented Renz Talentino, that is. Let me see who else we have. Mark Attack, Philip the Fool, Windman 42. We got 1-6 Fix. I bought some shit this week. Yep. Put my hand in my pocket and bought some shit. True story. Oh,
no way.
I cannot wait to see it. So that's what I'm saying. He got to give me. So is he? See, the thing is, it's like he's still away, right? I think he's still away. He's still away.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so when he get back next Sunday, hopefully we'll have some stories to tell.
He didn't say figures, though. It could be Lucky Charms for all we know.
I know. Could be. We got Blitz 0065 in the building. Thank you for being here, man, as always. Let's see who else we have. Striker 47's in the building. We got William Owens. We got Larry Walker is in the building with us. Who else do we got? Philip. Let's see here. Yomo is in the building. Thank you for being here, Yomo. Empire Strikes is always here. We got Lancelot Corner Nerds in the building. Thank you for being here. Peyton Jedi Chris is in the building. Thank you for being here as always. Bendu Windu. Who else do we got? And Tragedy Tales and many, many more. Like a lot of more, a few more people actually stomping through. He said, just got back, put me in, coach. Oh, okay. You just got back. Let me actually send you an invite, bro, to get you in here, man, because I know you're going to be excited about a few things. So glad to have my guy back. You said it.
That's awesome.
And now it's that time. So, yeah, I'm going to bring my guy in here in just a few moments. And we're going to talk about some things here that, again, we're talking about, what's going on. But I do want to talk about, first off, some of the releases or, and the reveals that we actually got this week. We got to kind of get that out the way. It's like I always say, we got to do some housekeeping. So we'll talk about those things first. And here's the thing, like I wanted to throw out a question first before we get into that. One of the biggest things that I wanted to kind of pull up, because I know, like, KeCo, you have a pretty, and I think majority of us here have a pretty diverse collection. Diversifying your collection, you have a pretty diverse collection. My question is, and I'm going to ask everybody this, is when you're displaying, my OCD kicks in, bro, like straight up. So for me, I have to have Star Wars where Star Wars is at. I have to have Marvel where Marvel lies, and I have to have DC where DC's at. So everything is separate. I cringe sometimes when I see people's displays and they have figures from different IPs in one display, and I'm like, ooh, I can't. It just unless it's like a one-off IP, like for instance, if I have Alita and Hellboy, I'll put them in the same case because, like it's saying, they're one-off figures that could possibly exist in the same space, hypothetically speaking. But diverse display. KeCo, I'm gonna start with you first. How is yours? How you have a diverse display, but how do you kind of like, do you have everything separate, or do you keep everything's pretty much in like the same space?
I feel like I do a really good job of keeping places that need to be in the right spot. If you've seen any of my collection tour videos, it's all Star Wars on that wall, Marvel on that wall, and then in the middle, it's kind of the 80s nostalgia TV shows, just like just all thrown together there. I will say, when I was on Will's show the other day, and he was like looking at something, and it showed my collection. He's like, hey, we're looking at mine for an example, and there is an error where there is kind of a Johnny Depp cube essentially of Jack Sparrow, Tonto, Grindelwald, and all that, and so it's within the Marvel universe there. When you said it irritates you and you're like, oh no, someone's got something out of sorts, then yes, I will raise my hand and say I do have a couple cubes that are out of sorts, but it is intentional. I do keep everything together, but even stuff like, well, there you go, behind me, we kind of keep all the vehicles together. You got your Ghostbusters world, you got your, there you go, you got your Dark Knight world, you got your Back to the Future stuff, and then just more Batman. Down there. So I try to be intentional because that's the way they should be. You want to keep things together because that's the way it is. But if you run out of space and space is limited, then put Michael Jackson next to a clone trooper and call it a day. Because I do have a clone trooper next to Michael Jackson in my display because I don't know where place to put it.
But you're not too far off because, again, keep in mind, Michael Jackson did admit that a lot of his influences came from Star Wars because
you've seen the music video Scream,
exactly.
They're in space, so
exactly.
Let's go for it.
See, why not, bro? It just makes so much sense.
You made me feel better after that one.
Yeah, bro. So it's not out of the realm when you kind of think of it that way. You know what I mean? Like it works. It's like I said, Hellboy and Alita, same thing. It's one anime, one comic, but they can basically still exist in the same space. I'm
feeling a lot better right now.
Exactly. There you go. Just to justify. Now it'd be different if you basically had Star Wars with Pennywise or something like that. I'd be like,
or like Obi-Wan carrying Cap's shield, something like that.
like something like that. You'd be like, what the fuck? But other than that, it is what it is. It works. Marco, what about you, man? How do you have, like, would you say you have a pretty diversified collection, but you keep it spaced and really organized a certain way?
So I definitely have a diverse collection. I collect a lot of different properties, like most of us on here, right? So I think are all of us on here. So I'm not as bad as some, like Joao, for instance. He can't have, Back to the Future Part 1 figures with Part 2. So he said, but I think he's broken that rule since, right, with the DeLorean. But so some people are super strict like that. I'm fine if it didn't show up on the screen. I'm okay to make my own kind of, art display of something that could have been a what if. But I do like to keep, the same properties in one cabinet. So behind me is a work in progress, and it's kind of killing me right now. So I've got like Batman and Robin and Boba in the same cabinet, which I would not do, right? But I still have to put the lights. I've got to bolt everything up. So it's just figures are everywhere. That's disturbing me a little bit. So I will say my OCD, doesn't necessarily like that. But I think it's okay to, like, also with the Maji cases, like KeCo has, where he's got certain verticals for certain properties. I match in that way, but there's got to be some rhyme or reason. I cannot have the same figures in one cube that are from completely different properties. To me, that doesn't make sense. And also sometimes the scales don't necessarily match up, right? So Marvel figures seem to be scaled differently from Star Wars. So if you put them side by side, it might just look a bit odd, but to each their own, honestly. But for me, I've got some rhyme or reason, but I'm not necessarily as strict as certain folks.
Yeah, definitely, bro. I get you, man. For me, it's hard because if I have everything spaced in a different, category, like I have Marvel, then I'll go start from Star Wars to Marvel, then to DC. It also hurts me because of spacing. When I get figures in, like I have to kind of reorganize, but kind of make sure that I'm not placing. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a crazy thing. And it's not really as effective as I want it to be sometimes, but I try to make it effective. What about you, Dan? Like, I mean, diversified collection, but how do you do as far as like placement?
So I try to keep stuff like I'm not as, like, kind of like what Marcus said, I'm not as crazy as like Joao, where like I need to have the same, it's from the same property of that same like movie or whatever, and it has to be the same display together. Nah, like behind me I have like some of my Marvel Spider-Man figures posed with like the Venom and Carnage. So like stuff like that I'm okay with, but like I definitely don't mix like Star Wars with DC or vice versa. None of that shit. I like all my shit I keep separate. Like, and then over here, like I do kind of, my details are a little bit more messy than that, but I'm running out of space, so I've had to make do. But
that's the thing. Sometimes desperation makes us do some crazy things. It's like, I wanted it this way, but the display, space is only so much. So
this is gonna sound wild, but I got Wanda at the top of one. I got my Guardians of the Galaxy at another, and then right under that I got fucking Predators. And then right under that I got fucking The Force Awakens, Han Solo and Kylo Ren. So I have a complete random detail for right now, but everything else is more themed. Like
So it's just like random, but at the same time, it sort of has like a level of organization, based on just the theme.
It's still
or
separate,
the IP,
per shelf, but the whole shelf itself not much, but
because I like streaming with like Robert Meyer Burnett, and when I'm looking behind him, I'm like, bro, like, because his stuff. But again, like I haven't properly seen his display. I don't think anybody has actually seen his display. But bro, like when I look at his walls, I'm just like, man, like you have stuff everywhere, bro. Like it's just kind of hard to really decipher as to where things should go or how he's going to do it, because he has NECA figures posed with hot toys. He has like he just has things in so many different spaces, and I'm like, bro, like every time I look at it, sometimes I have to look down because I'm just like that. It kicks.
I mean, I got Gizmo with Optimus Prime for what it's worth,
but it's nostalgic. So I mean, I get that, but what I'm talking about is when you have 12th scale with like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just a thing. And somebody market tag Robert's display is a menace. It is like, it definitely is, bro. And I wonder like how sometimes he places things in different areas, but
when you've been collecting so long, you probably just stop giving a fuck. You're like, I'm just getting it and I'll put it wherever it can fit.
Yeah,
that's probably true.
Just old and cranky.
Yeah, bro, that's just basically the way it is. But here's the thing: is it's like when you have a missus who comes downstairs and she doesn't complain, but she tells you like, well, see, I do and would like to have space in certain areas. So can we kind of clean this up? You know what I mean? Like, this always a thing. Can we kind of clean this up and move things around, reorganize, and make things a bit more, or just move this? Because the thing is, it's like, when we take photos, I have like two boxes. I call it the black box, and I'll place figures in that box to take photos. It's taking up space on that wall where, she has her library and stuff like that over there. And I know she's like, come on, you got to clean this up. Like you've really got to clean it up. But it's hard when you're trying to organize and keep everything separated. But she still supports the hobby. But, it is what it is, man. It definitely is what it is. Compromise. We got your boy, 1-6 figure focus in the building. What's going on with you, bro?
What's going on with me is I haven't slept in about 36 hours. I was on the couch. I came home. I did laundry. I took a shower. I took a small nap. I went onto the couch and said, you know what? Lael doesn't know I'm back. I'm just going to be in the audience. I'm going to enjoy. But then Marco fucked me over with that Lucky Charms comment. I said, no. I'm not going to have that. It seems a bit racial.
That got you right off that couch real quick.
Oh no, he didn't.
You was like, oh no, he didn't. You was chilling. He was like, yo, he just called me out. I gotta come live now. What's going on, man? First off, welcome back, bro. How was the trip, man? Well,
yeah,
you know what? I'm asking you, and I've seen that shit, so I'm like, damn, you enjoyed yourself. What up?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's a beautiful country.
Hell
and
yeah,
there's a lot. A lot. The food was great. The scenery, the traffic. Man, traffic is crazy over there. There's everything. There's you got your cars, your vans, your lorries, your tuk-tuks. You're like multiple people on the one motorbike. You've got like random goats. One time we had to stop in traffic because there was an elephant crossing the road, and it was like, this is crazy.
Where were you now?
I love it. Sri Lanka.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you lost me until you said elephant there. I'm like, I don't think that's pretty very common.
You thought I was describing LA or something.
Pretty much. Like, I don't think elephants are common. I mean, who knows at this point? But
crazy stuff. Like we were at this one hotel, which is a place called Candelama, and it was like a hotel they basically carved into this rock in the jungle. So you're out on your balcony, instead of seeing like, a skyline or a beach, there's just all these trees come in. And like they tell you, there's when they check you into the room, they're like, okay, see this balcony door? We want you to close this door and lock the door, because the monkeys understand how to open the door. So they'll open the door, come in, trash your room, steal your watch.
It's real.
Yeah. Crazy, like monkeys everywhere. It's amazing. Loved it.
Damn. Okay. Learn something daggone new, bro. Straight up. You come in your room and watch a monkey.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
It's culture shock, but I recommend going. Yeah.
Bro, can you imagine like you and your missus being like down at the lounge or being in just having like a bite to eat at a local pub, and you see a monkey walk past wearing your shirt? Like, could you imagine shit like
Dopo.
that? Yeah, just taking your shirt.
Hey, that motherfucker's not a collector. Give that shit.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I'll give them some free merch if they're going to wear it around and get some.
Absolutely.
I'm all
Yeah,
for that.
Great.
I love branding, love marketing.
Hey, brand marketing straight up.
Yeah.
Hey, I just saw a monkey wearing your shirt, KeCo.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
It's I suppose it could be guerrilla marketing.
Yeah.
Hey, I see what you're doing there.
Nice.
I see what you did.
I try.
But Shane, we were just talking about like, again, diversified collection. You have a very diversified collection of figures based on not only just nostalgic, but just certain things that you want. Looking at your display, but how you have your display is warranted because of the simple fact that it's just you don't have like just mixed media inside of one display. You'll have certain things properly displayed from different IPs. I was just talking about like how sometimes like with me, I get to have to have Star Wars where Star Wars is at, Marvel's where Marvel's at, DC, stuff like that. How do you handle it? Like, especially well, and then because I know like you're very space conscious, where you're like, look, you know what I mean? My space is very important, and I have to have figures, in certain areas, but I also know that it needs to be, presentable, and I don't want to overdo it. Like, how do you handle like, when you see people who have like two different medias in one space?
Yeah. You know that meme when like say there is a couple and the guy is clearly in his own world and the girl is like, I bet she's thinking about women. I'm there going, could I put a third figure in the one detolf and could I how do I work that and whatever? Yeah, it's just the reason like you give me shit saying like that I come on and it's like, no, I'm not going to get this. It looks great. Happy for the people that get it. But the times when I do commit to something, I do kind of go, right, okay, where's it going to go? Who's it going to go with? Is it like, does he get a shelf on his own or, does she get paired with someone else? And obviously like, space is something we're all so conscious about. So for me, I like to get plugins. I think there's a term I just coined myself, but for example, like the definitive Loki, if that's a thing, I think is that one from Endgame, despite the issues with the sculpt or whatever. Like that can be plugged in or paired with a lot of different things. I could put it next to the Mark 6 because they shared screen time in Avengers, or I could put it next to Captain America or something like that from 2012 or something like that. You can pair with a few different types of things. So I like that. So if I'm getting a figure, it's not just. You can put them in the default on its own, but you also have the option to pair them with the Mark 6. You have the option to pair them with something else. Cad Bane there could be paired with you could pair him with Cobb Vanth, or you could pair him with the battle damaged Boba Fett, or you could pair him with the new Boba Fett. There's a few different options. I like to have those options. Not sure if I'm explaining myself very well.
Would you ever put him near the ESB Boba Fett, for instance, because they're both bounty hunters, or would that be off limits for you? I wouldn't personally, but again, each to their own. But yeah, I like to kind of I suppose have figures that could be looking good on their own, or they could be paired with maybe one or two other figures. Obviously, I'm not a completionist, so I don't have that option.
Does the versatility of a figure make a figure better or worse because of how versatile it is in your display? Like if it can go in multiple spots, does that make it a better figure? Would you say?
You know what? I don't think it's a deal breaker. But I because especially now that say, look, all my detolfs are full so if I can kind of pose two in the one square and it works right, then it is a bit of an icing on the cake. Because look, we all have these rules, but then again, if you see something, you're like, I want it, I have to have it. If the only way of displaying that is on a shelf on its own, I'll make it work. I'll do what I have to do. I'll rotate figures, or I'll pair two together at work. But you're right, KeCo. It is a bonus because then I know I have the option. It could take up a full detolf cube, or I can pose it with two or three. Like easy example, the integrated suit or the final suit, whichever one you're going for, and then Andrew and Tom, they're gonna look so good together in the same cube, just doing the meme pose. You know what I mean? Especially if those head sculpts turn out good and they're holding their masks. I think definitely it does add a little bit something. So it could be a don't want to say companion piece, but I suppose that's the best way to determine it. It can be on
Like
its
an
own or it can be a
element.
companion piece.
Yeah, and I think that's because one of the biggest dilemmas that I have is, you know, again, I like the Eternals. People didn't. A lot of people didn't like that film. I like the film, and of course, Toy is an Angelina Jolie fan, so and I'm an Angelina Jolie fan, so I got Thena. So when you have a figure like Thena, you have a figure like Moon Knight, you have these one-off, like not really one-off, but Marvel, you can fit those in a Marvel display. However, it's the placement of those figures and who would you have them with. So the dilemma is to try to figure out a way. So I tend to kind of, and Dan, I know we talked about this before. I have a way, or I tend to disconnect myself from the cinematic universe and more so go towards the comic universe in whether or not these figures or characters can exist in the same space and if they've ever had interactions. And that kind of gives me a point or an advantage to say, okay, I can display it this way and it may look right. It may basically work. Doesn't happen to everything, but it happens to that. And again, it's just based on the figures that you want. But the fucked up problem is that when you're a fan of Marvel, DC, and Star Wars, it's like you almost it may look like that you want everything, that you buy everything. You don't, because you're really conscious of what you want and you really select. You don't buy everything, but it looks like that and it's perceived to be that way because you are a fan of every IP. So
can someone clip that and send that to Gigi, please? Because that was well said. We're not buying everything, and it just looks that way.
It just looks that way because of the simple fact that there are certain things in the IP that we'll get. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, Shane, you're a fan of the Nolan Batman. You're also a fan of like just classic nostalgia. You're a fan of the OT Star Wars. You're a fan of certain things, so you'll collect out of different IPs. Certain IPs you get from Marvel, DC, and but you're selective. You don't buy everything, but you're selective in those.
I am the
IPs.
definition of an absolute cherry picker. 100%, like 100%, because I it's partially is that like I don't have the space, and then when I say things like that, and then you have like I get comments in the video, it's going, dude, you could fit 10 more figures into that cube, and I get that, but I just that's just not what I go for personally. Like, so there is that I'm a cherry picker.
But it looks good. It looks good in your display. KeCo, like when you consider the simple fact that you're, really like a primo photographer, bro. You do some incredible photography. Not gonna act like I'm not jealous as fuck because I am, but you make, you do some incredible work. And when you collect, like you're collecting figures that you basically love out of certain IPs and you make it look well. Do you sometimes get the perception or from others that you collect everything when you actually don't? You just collect the things that you love within that space?
Yeah, my wife thinks that for sure.
They always do, bro.
When we were going back to the space issue, there was for some reason Christmas decorations like 6 weeks ago that they were like, "Hey, are we going to get these off the landing and up into the storage space?" And I was like, "Yeah, we'll get around to that." But the whole reason is that there was no space in the storage space, so I had to make some plans to move some things around. But but I think most people now know that it's pretty much Batman for DC and that's it, and then just Marvel and Star Wars. But do I collect everything? No, because I didn't grab Athena because I didn't care for Eternals. Like you said, no offense to those that are super hype about it. Same thing. They just released the Clone Trooper, the Bark Speeder type thing.
Yeah.
I'm not getting that. For one, I don't have the space for vehicles anymore.
Exactly.
And I'm really kind of moving on from I know Apo is a name clone, but only the name clones with head sculpts, I think.
Yeah.
Because I said this before, I think I'm almost cloned out at this point, just because unless you have an army building and you're just going strictly for clones, the clones and the idea of just a vast clone army, like literally speaking for your collection, I don't need, and especially because I've only done like the 501st. You haven't done any other battalion, so I'm getting tired of all the blue figures out there, and I'm like, okay, this is enough. So no, but I am a little more liberal when it comes to, okay, this looks cool, I'm just going to add it, for the hell of it type of thing. I have made a few too many. This looks cool. Looking at you, King Shark. No reason for me to have that one, but he just looked so cool. And I wasn't going to get the President Loki, but it's like, well, that head sculpt's really, really good, and I want to. Why not? So that's kind of what I did. So I really am lax on my own rules, but I try to have rules. I just don't follow them.
Yeah, see that, and that's the thing, bro. Like, it's for me, again, it's collecting within the space of reason. That's the way always just, within that place of reason where it's certain things that I love that I know I'm connected to. I've been hell, I just dropped, damn, and I don't even know why I dropped $380 on comic books yesterday. Because that's the space, and that's another problem. That's another problem that we won't talk about here. I'll talk about that on Comic Book Talk with Friends tomorrow. But it's a problem that, again, it's things that I've grown up with. And on top of that, it was my dumb ass fault because I let my book stack up and stack up and stack up. And then I just decided yesterday to go pick them up. So that was my fault. But anyway, it's just the simple fact that, number one, for me, in this particular space in collecting, it's just like, it's the enjoyment and fulfillment of having things that I'm connected to. But like you, when it comes to like clones, even though I love Star Wars, I'm tired of looking at the same color scale, the same blue and white, color pattern that we get with and then again, it's like, I'm not going to collect strictly off of, just the head sculpt alone. That's why I basically moved from clones to like the Bad Batch again, because I love the Batch.
Those are fire. Figures. All the Batch figures are
fire. They're incredible. So I moved to that, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm safe in that space. The Bark Speeder, which we will talk about here in a few minutes, it's going to be for some people, but it's definitely not for me because of actual spacing. And I'm not going to get it. And a lot of people were getting it just to get the clone. And I'm like, nah, it's just not a space to be in. It just doesn't basically work for me. So I definitely had to move out of that space because it just doesn't work the way I want it to. But what I want to do is I want to bring up this guy right here. This guy basically was released this week, true to form of everything that I expected, from it. Shane, I think I saw that you said that you're going to get your hands on this. Is that true, bro?
This is fucking awesome. Like KeCo mentioned rules there, and that I have my rules. We all have our code or rules. Or as I see Mike is in the chat, and he likes to say he puts guardrails on his collection so he doesn't get out of control. I really like that way of expressing it. Like, so certain rules are just like, for me, I'm not going to cross them. I'll never get something from the animated series Clone Wars. And I was watching Clone Wars just before I came on here. I need to get onto that season 5. I've been told 5, 6, and 7 is, God tier. But every now, I think those rules are important because it kind of it keeps you sustainable in the hobby. It keeps me sustainable in the hobby anyway. And I know I can't get everything. But one of the key things I do is a triple threat. Do I like the character? Do I like the source material? Do I like the version? So for me, I loved the live action version of Cad Bane. The scene, even when I watch it now, for an overall series, which I thought was lackluster, but that particular scene and episode 5 and 6 were fantastic. But that particular scene when he walks out of the desert and the voice and the look and the tension, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I was like, this is cool. So I loved the character. I loved, I suppose, the source material, that particular, what do you want to call it, scene or that particular episode. And this version, I think it's fantastic. I know people have their issues with the hat, and maybe that because they're diehard Clone Wars fans, but this is the live action version, and that's what he looked like, and then you're probably going to be able to get a custom hat. So for me, this is, it was on the wish list. I hadn't pre-ordered it. I saw how it turned out, and I was like, it's a done deal. This is going to have so much shelf presence. It's a bit taller. It's got the blue and the red eyes stand out so well. You've got 3 interchangeable faceplates. You've got fantastic tailoring, 2 Western style guns, the breathing apparatus. Could it be a bit more weathered? Yeah, but is it a deal breaker? Absolutely not. I just think this is super. I think this is super. Yeah, I got really excited about this. Pull the trigger.
Hell yeah. Definitely. Dan, did you get this already?
Yeah.
You got it in, son of a bitch.
Just like that.
Just like KeCo, you got it in too, right?
I'm not the only one.
Motherfuckers. But I mean, well, again, it was my fault because I got it through Underground, which is my guy. Underground all day, my man Ray, Underground Figures. So once it gets there, I know I'll actually have it. So I can wait. I'm really, really patient on it. But I am living vicariously through you guys right here. So far, Dan. I mean, and I'm gonna go to you, KeCo, after that. But Dan, so far, what do you think of this figure, bro? Since you got it in, what is your take on it?
Dude, it's easily like one of the best Star Wars figures to come out this year. It's sick as fuck. Like I honestly I don't know what else to say besides that. It's dope. Like there's a lot of weathering, like it's very subtle though along like the shoulders and back and around the collar areas. Like it's fucking sick, man. Like, I think if this is definitely gonna be like if you miss out on this, you're gonna be paying like some pretty pennies to get this, man, because they're never gonna do this again. Yeah. And pro tip, if you got crosshair, you can use that toothpick in his mouth. So
word. Yeah. Can you?
Dan, it's just one thing you said there. I obviously got mine from Lion Rock and they tagged me. They went and picked it up and then they tagged me in it and they've done something I've never seen before. It was like they basically, picked it up at wherever, secret base, whatever, and they tagged me in the box, obviously on their story, advertised it, and then they wrote sold out. I've never seen them do that before. So wow. Maybe it is sold out over there. I don't know. I don't want to stir up hype, whatever. You can always get it from other places. Maybe they said that their stock is sold out. But yeah.
Wow. No, dude, this is definitely has potential to be like one of those Star Wars Grail figures like later on in the, like maybe a couple of years when this thing ain't around anymore. So yeah, this definitely has that potential, and he just looks badass, man. I mean, yeah, it's a great figure. I'd highly suggest if you're on the fence about this, just pick it up. You'll be really glad you did.
So, is it safe to say that this figure was actually bumped up from its original release date?
I have no idea.
It was.
I think by 2-3 months, if I'm pretty sure.
Shit. So they definitely bumped it up. I mean, that's what's up. That's definitely what's up. KeCo, which have you put a review out on this, or have you put not a review, but have you actually done your photos on this yet?
I have, yes. I put 2 out this morning, and I did a real review yesterday on Instagram. And I will say that this is so interesting because if you look at your Star Wars display, how many actual, if you don't have the actual bounty hunters, how many aliens do you have in your Star Wars display? There's not a lot of them. I mean, it's essentially humans and troopers. That's essentially what a Star Wars display looks like, or some droids. Yeah. This is one of the few rare aliens that you finally get, and not just an alien, but a bounty hunter. That's from the Clone Wars. That's from Book of Boba Fett. It covers so many things, and that's just the character in itself. This truly, I think, is a top 3 all-time Star Wars release. Wow. It's that good, mainly because of, as everyone's talking about, the shelf presence. I mean, you got an alien, you get a blue-faced alien with red eyes that really pops. Currently, he's sitting on mine next to Boba and the throne with Fennec. Those are the 3 that are kind of sitting there because that's, we're talking about the display. Those are the 3 from that show. So the double jointed elbows, and if you get the deluxe, I really think you should, because you get Toto, which is even better. And he is really cool. And the way they did the paint, regardless of how you take pictures, it looks like his eyes are lit up, which really looks good. It doesn't have those lifeless eyes. They look real, and he looks awesome. See, that's not enhanced. That's an actual picture. That's the way his eyes look, because they're done that well. They're not glowing. There's no Photoshop on that. That's the way they really look. And they look great behind the camera. And so you can do so much with him. He's fun. And man, I'm having a blast with him. And the 3 face plates, I know I just keep going on and on. Yeah. That's what I think separates it from a lot of things. Yeah, you can have different head sculpts, but sometimes head sculpts are a pain in the ass. But if you have this, you just pop, put whatever one you want on.
You just swap it out.
You can swap it out, and that's it. And I love the blast effects for, the little hover little thing that they're doing right there, the rocket boosters. Hell of a figure, man. Hell of a figure. Yeah, if you think you may want this, jump now. I'm not advertising, obviously, by any means, but I just know that people will want this the more and more they see it in hand, and they nailed it. And I think it was July to December was the release date schedule. So it was right at the very beginning of its intended release. So this is good.
Yeah. And because considering the simple fact that you weren't modeling this off of any particular head sculpt or actor's likeness, you know what I mean? It made sense for them, because I think they did this the first time, even with Boba Fett, or Mando. As a matter of fact, when Mando dropped, it released earlier than it was supposed to at that point. But yeah, this, bro, like, it's rave reviews from pretty much everybody who has it in hand so far, and I can't wait to get it. Which, I mean, and Marco, like, what about you, bro? Like, is this something that GG is gonna let you actually have in the collection, bro?
Well, whether she knows about this figure and that I'm going to get it, those are two different conversations. But yeah, so I'm afraid to say this again, but I'll say it again. I'm going to get flamed for sure. But I wasn't a fan of this character at all before he showed up in the Book of Boba Fett. So when I saw him in Clone Wars, and admittedly I haven't finished that series, but I was like, okay, I know Star Wars is inspired by westerns and by samurai films. But the fact that there's a character that's dressed in Western garb, I thought that was pretty cheesy. I liked his voice though. I liked the design a little bit with the blue face, but I was like, this guy just doesn't really work for me. But when he showed up in Book of Boba Fett, it kind of solidified like, oh, this is actually a really badass character. And I know people hate that series, but for me, I enjoyed his appearance.
He
could have done more for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And he could have done more. We actually probably should have gotten more of him, but so he was pretty badass. So when they announced this, I was like, this is giving you pretty much everything you could want. Obviously, with him coming with Toto, it's like he's pretty diverse in terms of the displays you could have with him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not convinced that they won't do another version somehow. And I don't know if that would be like a more animated face, which would be kind of, not in line with what they've been doing, but maybe like a battle damage version. I just feel like they probably put a lot of, effort into designing this figure, so I wouldn't be shocked if we see it pop up again.
No, man,
but that being
he's dead. He's dead, man.
Oh, that's right, yeah, because everyone always stays dead in Star Wars.
He's dead.
So.
That's it.
Dude, we're gonna get the Clone Wars version watch with the
maybe
with
right,
the disguise
exactly.
watch.
So maybe they're gonna have like a larger hat. I could just see them, pulling something. So I wouldn't say like go panic buy this one because it definitely is feeling like there's lower stock. But I feel like if you miss out on this, you might have another opportunity. That's coming from a place of privilege, right? Because I am planning to get this figure. I already have a pre-order, so I'm not afraid of missing out on this one. And ultimately, I think it came out really nice. I am jealous that Dan and KeCo already have it because this is one that I definitely want immediately, but I can wait. There's so much stuff coming out. But yeah, ultimately, this came out just about as perfectly as I could have wanted it for a character that has grown on me over time. So I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing him. I know they're doing that Mandalorian movie or, all the films or all the shows kind of coming together into one large film. So he'd be a perfect person to kind of show up in that. So really, looking forward to getting this one in hand.
Definitely. Even because I was kind of bugging about this on Wednesday, even though he has a coffee cake hat, still, yeah, I mean, it does. It reminds me of a cinnamon coffee cake, bro. But still,
now I can't unsee that shit.
It does, bro. But still, I definitely got to have this, in my collection. Low key, thank you for blessing us with your presence, bro. As always, man. How you doing, man? Is he? He's there? Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
You mute? Oh, he's gonna come out and come back in. Let me see here. Probably. Yeah, he'll come out and come back in. We'll see him in just an actual minute. But yeah, this one is definitely going to be one that I'm going to get and have in the collection. Now, let me ask, do you think that with this, that they might kind of rush on that Cad Bane?
I hope not. Get that
You
head
hope
sculpt
not?
right.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they can actually get the head, because get the head sculpt right, definitely. Because I already said that I'm not posing him with that armor because I even hated him wearing the armor in that episode because it was so damn skinny. It just looked extra weird. The helmet looked weired on him.
He looked goofy.
Yeah,
I think that was the point, though, right? He was supposed to because it's not his armor.
I think it was,
yeah.
Because I actually thought they did it really well because you're expecting Boba Fett to turn up after watching episode 1 of season 2 of The Mandalorian, and when he stands in the doorway, you're like, no, that's not him.
Definitely.
But I thought it was actually quite well done.
Yeah, definitely. I think we got Cal. Cal, you in the building? Can you hear me now, bro?
That better?
Yeah, bro, we hear you. We hear the melodic voice of Mr. Low Key in the building, bro. Quick question, man. Is this something that you are going to get in your collection, bro?
He's ordered. So yeah, he's coming. I think Shane described it as well as any one of us could. So
yeah, definitely, man. It's one to have, and again, like KeCo was saying with Toto 360, bro. This thing, literally is going to be a go-to because with this figure, there's so many possibilities, endless. Because you don't have to just pose him with The Book of Boba Fett figures, you can actually pose him with the Bad Batch. You can definitely do something like that. Fennec Shand, you can definitely do something like that. You can pose him with Jango Fett. You can definitely do something like that. It doesn't have to exist in one space. That's the beauty of having this figure, because there's so many different possibilities and things that you can necessarily do with it. And I love that. I love that it's really, really diverse. We got a $2.49 super chat by my man Mark Attack. Thank you so much for that. CW Anniversary Line could give us a Cad Bane. If I'm not mistaken, isn't Sideshow giving us a clone, a Cad Bane? Clone Wars version?
They teased it, but I don't know if they ever put it up for order.
They didn't. It's in the graveyard, so
it's in the graveyard still. Sons of bitches, man, because
they could be licking their wounds after the Anakin Obi-Wan.
Yeah, because
everyone liked the Yoda, though. People liked the Yoda.
Yeah, and supposedly people like the Ahsoka that's been released as well. So, and that one's going to be coming soon. But look at this, bro. Like, this is the 6-scale Sideshow version.
It looks good.
It looks really good as an animated figure. Now, KeCo, because this is weird. This looks like you did this fucking photo, bro. Like, it really does. Would you get your hands on this piece, bro?
I usually don't care much about people's like preservation of figures. Everyone's like afraid that they're going to fall apart. I think there's too much pleather on this one, mainly the pants. And that's the thing that scares me, is that like what's great about the current Cad Bane is that he's all fabric. Pretty much. True. And I feel like that would, especially if you bend the knees, that could be a nightmare, especially on a Sideshow figure. I mean, does he look great? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know necessarily. I think he's almost too stylized. I hate to be that guy.
Like too much going on with it.
Yeah, for as much crap as people gave the Hot Toys Ahsoka from the Clone Wars being too stylized, I understand that this is specifically from the animated show. Because I don't have any of the other ones, I wouldn't get this one just as the Cad Bane to fill in that part of my shelf. I think the Hot Toys one from Boba does just what you need it to do
by normalizing the figure, and it gives you so much diversity there. That's what I love that Hot Toys does so well, is that they're taking these animated figures, and even though they give them more life, so you can actually kind of bounce between both. I like that, because it does give you more room to play, where it's not just strictly limited to just animation. So I'm one for, but I mean, it's not taken away from simple fact that this isn't, it looks decent. But yeah, I tend to agree. Like, it's a little bit too stylized, and the possibility of it, over time. And again, we know how this looks. And again, you talked about how people were really up in air about Anakin and Obi-Wan. This is just like a situation where you just have to wait and see if it ever leaves purgatory. Because right now, that's where
hear the joints clanking. I can almost hear them like just being floppy and loose,
like back and forth. Like just back and forth, clanky type of situation.
The typical Sideshow body.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel you on that one, man. And that's the danger of it, is that constant clanking, or the possibility of the clank back and forth. So yeah, I feel you on that one, man. Another and we just got done talking about this earlier. You brought it up, KeCo, was basically the Bark speeder with Apple. Again, I talked about this the other day. I was just like, it's not something that I'm going to get because of spacing. And the thing is, I have to really, really be cautious, especially with the vehicles. And to me, it's just, okay, I understand the actual, people who love clones, but it's just like, when I think about it, Cody didn't get the love that he should have had with the clones that, his home squadron. They didn't give that. I would have loved to see something totally different. That's why, I did get the Coruscant guards, because of the red and white. It was a different scale, scale to that, or a different presentation. But this, again, same blue and white, looks good, but I wasn't really engaged in getting this because of the actual spacing. Is there anybody on the panel that's getting this piece?
Stop it.
You're not getting it? Nah.
And that's what I think is interesting, is that apparently this is already waitlisted on Sideshow. So who's buying these? Or is it that low of a batch? Is it that low of a batch?
And because it's already gone waitlist, there's the hype around it, or else this one would be sitting for forever, I think, right? Because it is a pretty boring design. Now, if you have a connection to this character and this bike, then I'm sure you'd be hyped for it. But I feel like that pool is pretty small.
I want to see a show of hands who has an Apo poster on their wall. You're like, man, that is my favorite one. Come on. I can understand Jesse. I can understand Vaughn. You know, I can understand obviously Rex and Cody.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if Apo is your favorite clone. Come on now.
Nah, not at all, bro. Like, it's not to say
favorite?
That. Yeah, you know what I mean.
I love the way he has. I love his satchel though. I just think I have this image of him. He like DJs when he when he's not actually fighting in Clone Wars, and he's got all his vinyl there because he's old school. I love his inside satchel. I like that accessory.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, the speeder with the sidecar does look good. I'm not going to take away from it. But even that is limiting your space. You wouldn't be able to pull this out like that unless you actually had it in a module case or a Costa case or something that you've modified yourself. Like,
a lot of real estate.
Yeah, like you would definitely have to have a lot of real estate to pull something like that off. And again, I'm not buying this just for a clone. I'm not doing that, man. I'm not going to limit myself to that space. So again, it might be for some. For me, it was just like, yeah, I'll kind of pass on it. Whenever it's supposed to happen, it's supposed to, I just don't need it right now. I don't need it at all in my collection. Marco, again, looking at something like this, man, I mean, we can understand it from a distance and looking at the ingenuity, but was this ever something that gauged your interest, bro?
Not at all. I am intrigued that they're doing more of these mid-sized vehicles. I think that's really interesting because we need more of those. Now, it's not for everyone's collection, but it's a cool little diverse piece. Like, obviously, I'm seeing the speeder bikes that you and Dan have on display, and like it's a good way to mix it up, obviously. But yeah, this was never on my radar again because I'm not huge into the Clone Wars. I know he showed up in live action. Not anything that I particularly recall, but yeah, it just wasn't anything that spoke to me. And again, I was just laughing a bit because when it went on waitlist, then there was all this hype around it when I thought, this would definitely not be one that people would be so worked up about if it wasn't for the seeming limited availability of it. So yeah, excited for anyone that's going to get it, but definitely was never on my radar.
Yeah, definitely, man. Wasn't something that I really saw myself getting. Even when I saw, because the first time, KeCo, the first time we saw this, I believe, was at Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim when they had it on display. Like, that was the first time we actually got a chance to really look at it, and it was huge. Like, it was the display, everything that they had on display there at that point was huge, and I'd already made up in my mind it wasn't something that I was going to get in hand. And I knew it was something that Shane wasn't going to have in his collection at all. And it was going to be a huge pass. Right, Shane?
Yeah. But I got to say, I love the look of that side satchel. Like, I think he looks really cool. Like, you know what I mean? But
he's headed to his office job, actually. He's got all the paperwork in there.
Yeah, he's got his tie in there. But I know I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. I pass on so much stuff that looks cool to get the stuff that I love. You know what I mean? It's this looks great. Like, I know Beskar Kid's ears are burning now. He's like, the disrespect.
Right? I know he's out there like, you guys are killing me. I know. And again, I'm with everything else, but just spacing for me is one of the reasons why I said I'm not going to actually get this piece and why I kind of stepped away from it. Now, the one thing I did say the other day, which would have been dope, is if they would have released this speeder with Keller and Beck. If they would have did that from this last season, I would have probably said, yeah, I'll go ahead and do it because I want that figure. I would love to have that character in my display, but it's not going to be for everybody. But still, again, it's just not something that I necessarily need. And the thing is, I had to think about the simple fact that there was more important things coming. You know what I mean? For me, there's so much more that's actually coming that I'm waiting for. You know what I mean?
So much more.
Bro, when we're dipping into, Obi-Wan series, we have Obi-Wan and Vader dropping. We have, exactly, soon. You know what I mean? So it's like, I have no room to play with anything else right now. I want that figure. I can't wait to get it. I hope they retool. And so from what I'm hearing, that they did slightly retool the actual head sculpt. So hopefully we'll see that. But yeah, I again, I limited space on, not limited space, but more so focus on what it is that's coming next. So with this, it was just like definitely a no for me. Now I want to come.
The pace is real, Lael.
Yeah.
Like if just to make a point there, they seem to be, again, I don't jinx it, but the pandemic does seem in the background. They seem to be slicing months off their expected release dates for a lot of figures. Just put into context, before I left for Sri Lanka 2 weeks ago, I made a few videos and scheduled them. One of the videos was hot toys that are due to release in 2023. Pretty straightforward, boring video. Went on to Sideshow, looked at all the hot toys, and went from the oldest to the newest and see which ones are due.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time the video dropped, like I think 4 of them had already been released. Fennec had come out, Costco come out, I think Apple come out, and Cad Bane. Now I did say in the video, look, this is probably outdated, but 4 in the space of like a week and a half. So the onslaught, the storm is here, you know.
Yeah, the storm that we've been talking about for the longest time is here, and I think that they're pretty much unloading all of these first, especially for what is to come and what the expectation for what's coming. But I kind of want to, which kind of makes me move into like this, next space, and we were talking about this earlier off the top, is the expectation of what's to come and the expectation of what could be seen possibly, with the Sideshow Con, Summer Showcase, stuff like that. But we already got, what was it, last week we got 2 exclusives, right? It was two exclusives that we actually got. I believe it was the Spider-Man Miles Morales and the advanced suit from the video game. So there were 2 that we actually got. I'm just going to use these as a point of reference. So 2 exclusives. Now, more or less, we can already say that we'll probably get more exclusives than just this, but it was just, ironic that they put these 2 out first. Tempering the expectation, KeCo, what would be your advice for everyone out there who has this expectation with the Summer Showcase coming up and exclusives? How would you tell them to say, well, listen, I know in your mind you have this space where that exists where you have all these ideas of what you would want to see, hopes and dreams. You've probably been piggybacking off of rumors that you've heard from other people. There's those Chinese whispers that are going around right now. What would you tell a person who has that idea about? Because the thing is, and I keep this in mind because us being collectors and being that we've done this for some time, there are summers and there are showcases where we've got little next to nil, like nothing of what we expected. Or there were like last summer. What was it last summer when we got Logan, Wolverine, and we got Logan from Days of Future Past.
Yeah, Wolverine.
RoboCop.
We got RoboCop. And so we started getting those things. So, and it was unexpected. So what would you tell people like now, especially those who are new to this, how to temper those expectations? What would be your advice, bro?
It's such a loaded question because I know that some people will get mad regardless of what I say. But the thing I would say is expect 1 holy shit figure, 2 to 3, wow, that's really neat, I can't believe they did it, and then a bunch of mid stuff that you're like, why did they waste their money on researching, developing, and putting this out? A majority of the stuff, honestly, is just going to kind of be real niche. I'm looking at you, Iron Man, Neon Tech, things like that. Looking at you, random side character, from a franchise that you never thought was going to come out, that they're just finishing a line. Cool. But I think potentially, if this is their new business model, they may start doing more numbered pieces and maybe start getting prepared for that. And I think that they want to empower, and speculation, of course, I don't know anything. I think they're wanting to empower the collector again to want to collect. And if you put a number on something, naturally people are like, oh, I want something I can't have. That's the way it always works. Going like what people said about, the Appo and stuff. Oh, it's waitlisted. Oh, maybe I do need this, that type of thing.
Yeah.
The FOMO is real. But we've seen I think this year, the past 12, 18 months, we've seen more numbered exclusives than we have in years. I mean, this one is 3,000 Spider-Man, 1,500 miles. You go back to the Wonder Woman with the rooted hair, only 1,000 of those. You go back to Batman, only 1,000 of those. Go all the way back to the D100, that Iron Man, the Silver Centurion looking Iron Man, only 1,000 of those. It gets people wanting to do it. It blows out on waitlist. I'm just talking about if Sideshow's your go-to. I know there's plenty of other places to get it, but as soon as you put a number attached to it, Stealth Suit Cap, everyone wants to have it. And so I think, would I be shocked if half of the exclusive summer showcases are all limited and numbered? No, I would not. I think that may be something that ensures exclusivity. It makes people want to collect, and it keeps their bottom line from blowing out because they're like, okay, we know we're making this many. We're going to sell this many. We're not going to sit on dead stock. I think that's important from a business perspective. And I think maybe be prepared for that. But if you think that they're just going to put out 15 incredible pieces, and be like, hey, happy summer showcase, everyone, there you go, you will be disappointed. You will be disappointed. So that's all I can say on that.
Definitely, bro. And you're right. I think they are going back to the model, because the thing is, it's like, look, we know that Hot Toys is putting out product, they're making money hand over fist, but at the same time, even they know that, the return on a lot of this, especially if it's dead stock, if stuff sits with certain companies and stuff like that, Sideshow doesn't want to take a loss. A lot of these companies don't want to take a loss. And sometimes they can't, you can't get rid of figures nowadays. Like literally, you cannot get rid of these pieces. So they're gauging to see what will sell, what won't. A lot of people out there, again, I just want to, and I need to say this. Yes, we got the Harrison Ford likeness for Indiana Jones, but do not be surprised if we do not see a Han Solo or a Chewie during this summer showcase. Don't set unrealistic. I'm not saying it's unrealistic, but don't set yourself up for failure, because the thing is, we've seen this happen time and time again, where the expectation is there and it just doesn't happen. You might have the rest of the year, but just temper that a bit. What about you, Marco? What would you say, bro? How would you handle this?
Yeah, no, I think it was really well said by KeCo and by yourself in terms of, setting your expectations. But I also, initially when thinking about this, I wanted them to dip into older properties. But now I kind of want them to do stuff from this year moving forward. And because Hollywood is, shut down right now, right? So we don't know what next year's looking like. I'm going to assume that over, towards the end of this year into next year, Hot Toys is going to have to start going back into the well and start, giving us more, Christopher Nolan Batman figures, or that Scarecrow that I've always wanted a reissue of. We're going to see a lot more of that. Terminator, we know that InArt is trying to do that, but still holding out hope that Hot Toys does, another Terminator. So I'm thinking that I want properties that are current, and then, for the future, we're going to see a lot of them, revisiting stuff. So we've got the Spider-Man already down. We've got, an Iron Man definitely coming, like KeCo said. I'm going to expect some Troopers as well. And that might be it. Like, it could be a pretty lean year. I'm hoping that's not going to be the case, but yeah, you just don't know with Hot Toys. So definitely don't have anything in particular in your mind. I'm still holding out for Andor. Like, are we just going to get nothing from Andor? Not even a trooper? Not even a trooper from Andor. Like, you could give us a Death Trooper specialist at the very least.
Cassian Andor, something like literally
something.
It just makes sense to give us something from the IP. Like, it's just a missed opportunity if you don't. Like, that's what I really, really don't understand. So, especially
award season, right? I think it's been nominated for a few awards. So it could be a good time to revisit that. I'm still expecting more figures from the Black Panther line from Wakanda Forever, but that ship may have sailed at this point.
I know, bro.
Yeah, and I think, now that our boy Namor might be in some legal hot water, allegedly, that may never be coming. So, so I think those are in terms of my guesses there. But again, I think the messaging overall is just don't get too attached to one particular idea, because you will be disappointed. Because Hot Toys is going to do some stupid shit that none of us expect.
Something that none of us expect, bro.
It's out of all of our control, so there's no point in getting worked up over it.
Definitely. Dan, what would you think, bro? Like, because we laugh about this all the time, bro. Like, what happens, and we all know this happens, bro. Like, there's talk, and there's going to be talk for like probably the next 24 to 48 hours. Oh, we might see this. This is what we're going to see. Oh, I've heard that this is what's coming. Oh, little birdie told me this. Shane, I'm just giving you hints on things that you should put in the, things that collectors say.
You know what's funny? I was going to do a stream and a video on speculation because look, I know you don't want to. You want to temper your expectations. I get that. I get that. Speculating is fun.
Yeah, it is.
But instead, I've decided, because I was in the private chat with Marco and Joao, and I was like, I typed out a list of stuff. It goes, hey guys, I heard this from my guy of stuff that we're definitely not going to get. So instead, I've decided to do a video going, shit, we ain't going to get. So that's going to be tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah,
tell you what's going to happen. Tell you what's not going to happen. Colonial Marines, you know.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. But
I think KeCo's probably right on the one of them would be like that out of left field kind of, wow, that's actually really good, like the RoboCop or something like that. Like if they did like a Terminator 2 6-scale endoskeleton, that would be like, you know what I mean? And then the rest amazing. They can give us the Trooper or the Listerine Ironmans and stuff like that. But
if they gave us a diecast one of that too, right?
Dude, what if they gave us a DX10 with a motorcycle?
Oh,
game over.
Let's go.
That's talking dirty,
I'll be for that.
But then, like, what do you think, bro? Like, what would you actually say in this space, man?
Dude, we're gonna get that DX fucking Terminator with a motorcycle. Watch. Nah, dude. I just don't really expect much now. Like, I don't set myself up for failure like that, man. Like, whatever comes out just comes out, and if I like it or not, then I'll get it. That's just kind of how I've always been. I typically don't even speculate like that. But I mean, it's fun. Like, it's just, we've all been doing this for a long time, man. We already know Hot Toys is just gonna do what they do, man. Just random shit. Go get, like, kind of like KeCo said it perfectly, I think. And we're gonna get one figure that's just gonna absolutely blow our fucking minds, and then we're just gonna get the same old shit after that, I think. So I'm not really too worried about what comes out or not. Like, you know, I'm not really like craving anything, I guess. Like, I don't know. I'm just excited to see what they got, if they have anything new, and if not, whatever, more money saved for me.
We still have so much other shit coming anyways, right?
Yeah, it's just like, dude,
bro.
I got statues coming. Like, dude, I can live without picking up a few more figures. So,
does anyone ever see these announcements and kind of peek at them through your fingers and go, "Oh, thank God, wallet's safe. I can eat this week."
Yeah, bro. Like, that's how it was when I saw this Mark Speeder. Yeah,
I was like, nah, bro. Nah,
I was like, I'm cool because, and it's nothing against it because it's a beautiful piece. But I knew I was safe because it wasn't something that was on my radar that I originally pre-ordered or anything like that. It wasn't something that I needed because I already actually had it built up that I wasn't going to do it. So I was safe. You know what I mean? Am I going to be safe this week? You know, especially considering the simple fact that my Moon Knight is finally going to ship. You know, I'm happy about that. You know, I get I get Casca Reeves, and, you know, my Crosshair arrives on Tuesday. So I'm excited about that. You know, there's things that are still out there that I'm waiting on, you know, and it's going to hit, like KeCo, you just now said that you've heard that Obi-Wan is soon. And I'm like, oh, fuck. That's another thing that you have to be prepared for. You know what I mean? So again, you know, and along with that, we're dealing with, you know, Calvin, we're dealing with like the strike, you know, both the actor strike, the writer strike. So there's not going to be production of a lot of things. I think the only thing that we can expect right now going forward, even next month, is Ahsoka. You know what I mean? Blue Beetle is already in the can for a lot of people, DC fans. You know, the Marvels, you know, now a lot of that's not going to have a lot of, you know, branded promotion, but at the same time, you know, we know that they're going to actually give us, dip in the well, give us figures from those lines, but it's very few. Right now is an opportunity for companies to say, all right, let's focus on some of the stuff that we have that's coming out soon and just refine, retool, make sure that that actually is taken care of, and maybe dip back in the well. There's one thing that I was thinking about, though, is because lately from different companies, I've been seeing this heavy focus on Michael Jackson, bro. For some reason, it's been a heavy, whether it's statues, whether it's people talking about figures, it's been a heavy focus on Michael Jackson, which I wouldn't be surprised during this week if we saw Hot Toys try to dip back and give us their own interpretation of Michael Jackson just to capitalize. Not saying that they will, so don't put that foul expectation out there, but I'm saying it's a possibility. But Cal, what do you think, bro?
I'm just sitting back to see what happens.
Yeah.
I think the only thing we can expect is some off the wall Iron Man figure. Other than that, who knows? I'm just focused on trying to close out several of the orders I already have and then go from there. So that's where I sit right now.
Definitely, bro. I feel you on that. I think we got a $10 super chat I got to get to really quick here. I just seen that actually come through, and that's Mark Lee. He says the UPS labor talks have stalled, so there could be a strike by month's end. Hot Toys will probably push out and release all they can before months. Yes, another thing expected, because they've been talking about that all week. Cal, does this, because you're independent, I mean, you do your own thing, so you don't really, it's not one of those things where you have to worry about UPS, but do you think you might, you being a driver, stuff like that, you might capitalize on something like this that could happen, bro?
It's possible. I mean, if they're needing freight moved around, those accounts are going to be, somebody's going to pick it up. Unfortunately, the problem with my industry is they'll offer somebody $250, $300, to do it. I won't do that. I'd rather sit at home instead of starting the truck just to put added wear and tear and waste my fuel. But somebody will do it, and it'll just continue to fuck up the industry. So that's the problem I have with situations like that. But as usual, just sit back and see. But I hold out for the accounts I already have, and so it's keeping me above water at the moment.
Definitely. So what do y'all think about that, though? Just the simple fact that we are, potentially we could see a strike, within the looming weeks here now before month's end, and how Hot Toys might decide that, look, we got to push this shit out ASAP. What do y'all think about that?
Maybe I don't know enough about it, but can't you just switch everything over to FedEx and call it a day if you use UPS? Because Sideshow gives you that option. Or
they do.
They do. Yeah, if you buy stuff from overseas, I mean, most people do, DHL anyway. So does the UPS stuff indirectly affect the other ones? I don't think they do, but I don't know.
It will in terms of volume, though.
They can barely handle what they have now.
Yeah, I've been seeing videos from just random shit on TikTok, of some of the workers at FedEx being like, man, we're about to get so much fucking work, it's gonna suck. Expect expect delays in your packages and this and this and that. So I can kind of see how that can be. It might end up being like how the pandemic was, with USPS and shit, shit taking forever to get to you. It could be like that type of situation again, but I don't think
another issue is that us on the outside, what we don't realize is a lot of FedEx entities are franchisees. So that's why you get different regions you get shitty individuals over here, but FedEx is good over here. You don't know what you have. So if they already can't handle with the influx that they have now, it's going to be a shitty day. And then they'll continue to roll that over to USPS, and they're just as shitty. So
they're worse.
It's going to be a bad day.
I fucking hate them.
It's going to be a bad day.
A lot of people talk about fucking, FedEx, bro. People hate FedEx.
I hate them, so
a lot of people talk about how much they basically hate FedEx when it comes to delivery. I haven't had, knock on wood, I haven't had a problem with them for say yet, but then again, like I said, I don't really get too many deliveries from them. Majority is like UPS or Amazon. Toya, you hear me? Amazon, you know what I mean, stuff like that. But other than that, I haven't had too many encounters with FedEx. But you're right, KeCo. They, Sideshow does give you the option of using FedEx, as a carrier and stuff like that. And then of course,
price is always higher too for FedEx.
And then keep in mind there's also DHL, so again, another company that I haven't had problems with, but a lot of people said they have. Some people said they have had problems, issue. I know Will did at one point, but I again, it's a thing this week where a lot of people are talking about the space that we're in, whether it's, the expectations for what we'll actually see, with figures. And again, are we going to run into that same situation that we did with Sideshow where, there were exclusive pieces that they make available, but then when you go to order it, you only have so much time to really do it. You know, are they going to fix that problem? I don't know, because that's going to be a fucking headache too as well. Shane, I didn't really get a chance to get to you about this too, bro. Like, you know, when we talk about expectation, your thoughts on how to temper that, and your views on, again, because we see this time and time again every year. What are your thoughts about it, bro?
Like, you know the way when NR put up these polls and they say what you want us to make, and there's every obscure character from every single movie and TV show ever, and it's like, yeah, they're probably not going to make that because they're not going to make any money. So like, those, like, I know we're not getting Colonial Marines. I know we're not going to get a Ripley with a power loader that looks like Sigourney Weaver. So I just kind of accept it.
Yeah.
Now, again, I suppose I don't know, but if the day they do that, then it's like, an extreme exciting event. Like, so the way I kind of deal with it is just kind of accept, that those real key things that I would really get excited about that probably aren't current anymore. Like, like your Aliens, your Terminator and whatever. I just kind of accept that, they're not happening. Like, so I suppose manage your expectations, I suppose. Would that be said? But then the counter argument is that, okay, there's things that they should have done that for whatever reason they haven't done. I don't know what's going on in the background, but there's no reason they haven't. They should have put up the John Wick and the Kane, but maybe they're holding off for the summer showcases. And or like at least the main character, and is it Luton as well? Did I get that name right? Luton, or maybe Andy Serkis or something. There's no reason. Andor was fantastic. I think Andor was probably some of the best Star Wars media I've seen in years. There should have been an Andor. That's kind of something I think you kind of have a right to be a bit like irked about,
especially because he fits in with another line too, right?
Yeah,
you can put him with your Rogue One figures.
And the Return of the Jedi Fort I still think that a bit shortchanged on that. So it's not something I'd be, I'm going to go on a group and I'm going to type and I'm going to just sit and, have a little keyboard warrior. I just have way too many things to do than that. You know what I mean? Like, I've never disliked a video on YouTube. I've literally never disliked a video on YouTube or wrote a fucking salty comment or whatever. So I won't take to the internet. You know what I mean? That kind of a way. But I think it's okay to kind of say, damn, 40th anniversary Return of the Jedi, we only got 2 figures. It'd be great to get a few more, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I wouldn't be on the eve of these announcements going, oh please, come on, get this. Just, if it's good, I like it, I'll get it, and if it's not, I won't. Whatever. You
won't, definitely. This was a report that Bob Dylan had. Good old Bob, thank you for that. Good job, Bob, that sent me. He said this was the updated rumor report from Hot Toys Summer Showcase 2023, which we see the Back to the Future Part 3 DeLorean, the Mark 42 2.0, Kane, again from John Wick and Kane in John Wick, Moff Gideon from Mando Season 3, Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and that Black Summer Kamen Rider, which again I know little about. There's no connection to that for me, but I know there's some people out there will enjoy it. But this is, again, all speculation, all rumor. But is there anything
logical though? Very logical.
Yeah, very logical.
That's why it can't be true.
You know what I mean? Very logical. But if anything, is there anything on this list that people would be excited about, like any of you guys would be excited about?
I'll jump in and say no. I know a lot of people will be.
You're not getting that Black Sun Kamen Rider now? No?
Once again, I know nothing about that franchise, but I know people potentially could be excited about that. You're going to have two camps. People are going to be excited for Yondu, and then the people that already have Yondu are going to be mad. So that eliminates 50% of that.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people are going to be mad about the Moff Gideon because they didn't like Season 3.
Yeah.
The Mark 42, we don't need another Iron Man. The DeLorean, that's the weakest of the 3 DeLoreans, let's just be honest. And the only things that might be cool are the Kane and John Wick. John Wick, we've already had three versions of. So Kane is the only one on there potentially to where people might be excited about.
Be excited about.
There you go.
Yeah. So again, this is all rumor. It's the rumor report. And I think I err on that same side. Like, it's not something that I would. Nothing on this list, screams, "Yo, I want immediately." It's just not something there for me. Shane, you were about to speak on this, bro.
Yeah, I think KeCo, just stop letting KeCo go first, because then he just doesn't get the meat of the bone. He makes the points, and I'm like, yeah, that's logical. There's nothing much more need to add. I suppose I'm gonna take I agree with all the points on all of them. The John Wick and the Kane, I don't have a John Wick, and I've toyed with the idea of getting the I think it was the John Wick 2 one. But I remember at the time thinking, you know what, there's other movies coming out. They love Keanu Reeves. Maybe the head sculpts will be better on later versions. Maybe the tailoring and accessories might be better. It's just, there's a lot of ifs and buts in the air there, but I would like to see how the tailoring turns out, the accessories and the head sculpt, and that's something I would be interested in. Possibly the Kane too. I think again this comes back to that they'd look great together in a detail shelf, like just paired. It's perfect. Makes sense that the two of them be paired together. So I'll definitely throw an eye on them if this list is legit.
Definitely. Anybody else want to jump in on that? Because I know Marco cannot wait for that Kamen Rider. I mean, he said the day he saw it, he was like, "Yo, Gigi said yes, and I'm going to get it." But what's your thoughts on it, bro?
Yeah, man, who needs a Terminator with the bike when you've got this one with the bike? Honestly. I wanted to go back to something you said about Michael Jackson. That's really interesting, right? Because we know, InArt's going to be doing one. We've been seeing, statues and such. And I've got a really interesting extra deep cut. I'm just curious if anyone else is familiar with this. At Disneyland, they used to have, it wasn't a ride, but it was like a 3D movie. It was called Captain EO that Michael Jackson was in, and it was almost like a Star Wars themed. Like, I would love to see a 1/6 of that. It could almost go with your Star Wars display. Now, I don't know if Disney and Michael Jackson are still cool. Those two might not necessarily go together anymore, but that would be something that was like from my childhood that I would really be down for. But not much more to say except, to jump back to another point about, Hollywood being shut down, potential, strikes with delivery services. I am totally on board, like, with any of these, because I think a lot of companies are having really record profits, and a lot of the people, that are doing all the hard work, even through the pandemic, have not been compensated fairly. So I think I can wait on my movies, I can wait on my figures or any other luxury items, if that means that people ultimately are going to get paid. So
get compensated and paid. Yeah, bro.
Did you hear what the Oppenheimer cast did?
Yeah, they left.
They do.
They left.
They walked out.
Yeah, they walked out.
They walked out of the premiere.
They did the red carpet, and then before the movies, they just left and just joined the union.
Because I think it was like at that time, the talks were ongoing and the news broke. Wasn't that be? So it must have been discussed, obviously, beforehand.
Yeah.
Coordinated. That's really cool.
And Bob Iger is not popular right now amongst a lot of people in their conversations.
He was the savior if he could have just kept his mouth fucking
and kept
shut.
His mouth shut, bro. Like, when he said that, like, he has been the topic. He's been a topic of Twitter rants, memes, everything, bro. Like, they have really been, and that's coming off the heels that he just renewed his contract. Yep.
But
I'm like,
die the hero.
What the fuck, bro? Like, just keep your mouth closed, bro. Just
that's all he had to do.
But didn't he say, like, he's a CEO, yeah? And he kind of made comments going that, they put out too much content, almost as if he was distancing himself
don't you
from his
work
own
for that
job.
company?
Well, he distanced himself from Chapek because he knew that Chapek was the one that was greenlighting a lot of these IPs, and they weren't really successful. So now he's walking that back. But then to basically say that the writers and the actors, you're asking for unrealistic expectations. And I'm like, wow, like, basically wanting to have benefits and to really eat and not starve is unrealistic expectations. Like, that's really fucked up. Like, that's a fucked up thing to say. And hey, look, I'm not an actor. I'm not somebody who's out there making that actor money. But I'm just saying, like, people need to eat no matter what profession that you're basically in. People need to eat. They need to have clothes in their back, a roof over their heads. And that, and like you said, Marco, well said, I can sacrifice not having something to see other people survive. Like, literally, I can. That's not a space that I would ever want to be in. So I can go without. I have a well enough collection in here that I can enjoy, remodify, and practice on making photos as good as KeCo and everybody else who does this shit. I can still do that. You know what I mean? But I don't need to have figures in or stuff. I need to see things right now. But yet people are still out there on the line trying to survive. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was well said, Marco. I do appreciate that. And I'm pretty sure everybody out there appreciates that. Well said, man.
I'm a union man. I do.
Yeah, would you say, bro?
I said I'm a union man. I appreciate
that.
Exactly, bro. There you go. Like most people who basically, again, are unionized would appreciate that, because again, it's just like we're seeing these major corporations that just don't give a shit. So before we end this though, close out, I want to actually say that I do think, however, we will see this. This is something that I believe we will see.
Hopefully,
finally come to fruition. We'll probably actually see this figure doing this or Sideshow Con. They might put it up for pre-order. I hope they do, because if they don't, they need to get the ass kicked out of like they need to get their shit kicked.
It makes too much sense, Leo. No,
it does. It makes
too much sense.
Way too much sense, bro. And that's the danger of it, is the belief that, again, they can do something totally different. Or I think the other one is here, this one as well. I think that we'll finally see her, the fourth sister, as well, because they've been pushing that. Two figures that, KeCo, would you get both of these, bro?
Yeah, I think the Inquisitors look awesome. I mean, for all the people that didn't like the Kenobi series, you cannot deny how good all of the Inquisitors look. And I think the Revo looks awesome. If you don't really want that, I mean, you could easily customize that into a second sister if you really wanted it. I'm sure they're going to make a head for that. So the Inquisitor line is awesome, and I think people will be kicking themselves when they don't get those.
Hell yeah, bro. I cannot wait for that line. I cannot wait to complete the line, and I hope that these two definitely see a light of day for real, because I think it's just that time. But again, man, you guys, man, it's been a blast, bro. I don't want to keep people too long. I know y'all got a day that stuff that y'all have to do, and it's only a bit of things that I wanted to kind of cover, and I think we covered it well. KeCo, what you got coming up, bro? What can we expect from you, man?
Well, apparently you didn't know that there was Cad Bane content on the Instagram, so make sure to go and check that out. There's stuff over there, working on reels. Apparently that's what Instagram likes now. I suck at it, but I'm trying to do better at it because that's what they asked for. And then just trying to throw some stuff on the YouTube channel. We recently did about what do you need to collect vehicles. That was my most recent vehicle, or my most recent video was about vehicles. So we talked about that speeder today, so maybe give it a watch and see if you need to collect vehicles and whether it makes sense to you.
Hell yeah, bro. Definitely, man. If you haven't already, head over there to KeCo's Collect. Make sure you actually subscribe. Great content over there as always. Shane, what you got coming up, brothers? And welcome back once again to 1-6 Figure Focus. So glad to have you in the building, bro. What's going on with you, man? And after the show and we get off, you and Marco gonna, duke it out.
Oh yeah. That won't take long. How tall are you?
We'll find out when you see me in person. Just don't be wearing that flash ring, all right?
All right, now that this is serious, now he's got the flash ring. So no, thanks for putting me in, coach. And
hell yeah, bro.
What is happening? I've missed out on so much over the last. I haven't missed out on so much. I was living my best life, but in terms of the announcements and stuff like that, I'm going to catch up with some videos tomorrow, and we've got the Hope Show tomorrow. I think it's episode 9 tomorrow at 8 o'clock my time, which is like 3 p.m. East Coast. So H and Silver Fox going to be on there. Layout, I'll shoot you a link if you're available.
Okay.
We've got who else is on? I think Dan and Carbonet's going to be on it, and Alan.
Oh yeah, shoot me a link. I'm free. You said tomorrow, right?
We're going to talk about tomorrow, and
I'm free.
I'll give you all the details and stuff. Yeah. And we're going to talk about the space issue. Just like what are your options when you reach a stage where I know your detox are full or whatever, and just going to go through some kind of options, like just realistic options, what people can do. Maybe it might actually help people out. Yes. Oh yeah, and I'm going to do that parody video about the shit we're not going to get. So I'm looking forward about that. So definitely not going to get these.
Definitely, man. So glad to have you here as always, bro. If you haven't already, follow 1-6 Figure Focus on IG and YouTube. My man, Low Key, aka the Panty Dropper, bro. What's going on with you, bro? Yeah, that's gonna follow you, bro. It's not going nowhere anytime soon. What you think?
With that being said, KeCo, pleasure meeting you, sir. There's been several shows that you and Will did, and he'd say my name, and he was like, "Oh, the Panty Dropper," and KeCo had this look like, the fuck. Don't believe the hype.
Now we got it. Okay,
that was some shit that Mario started. Asked Marco. He stayed at the house at the one weekend. no draws were dropped, right?
I can neither
Thank
confirm nor deny.
See, he always on that bullshit.
Some pennies did drop in London, though.
You know, that's true. I'll confirm that one. I'll confirm that one. Speaking of Morrow's ass, I got in damn near at 3-4 o'clock this morning, fucking with him and the guys. At some point, I'm gonna start acting like I'm 40, but I'm tired already. Looking forward to this weekend in San Diego with SDCC. Gonna see my man Marco. And whatever the hell Mario has lined up for us. So I can only speculate on that. Otherwise,
bring my passport just in case.
Bring it. You want them border taxes. So
that's right.
Happy to see y'all. Shane, good to see you back and made it back safely. Your pictures look great. Glad you had a good time, bro. Dan, cheating as always. You know what I'm saying? I won't see you Friday. I'll be down at San Diego, but we'll catch you next week. Oh, we got some more LWO stories from last night, so we'll be 2 weeks stacked up for the next time we're on for LWO.
Fucking scumbags.
Man, thank you for basically being here, man. I appreciate that. Dan, what's going on with you, bro? What can we expect from you, brother?
Fennec Shan review is finally gonna drop later today around 5 my time, so 8 Eastern. I did do a review on Cad Bane back here, so that's already up if you want to check that out. And an LWO on Friday. I'm pretty sure we're doing it because P-Rock's hosting and he's not going to be at SDCC. So I guess we'll talk to him, but he's the one who should be hosting. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Sunday's with you. Yeah, thanks for inviting me as always, man. It's always a good time here.
Definitely,
like starting my day like this.
Hell yeah, man. Had a ball, bro. Hat says positive vibes, and that's what we brought today, man. Last but not least, Marco, man, what is going on with you, bro? So glad that you actually had a chance to come through, man. How you doing, and what can we expect from you, bro?
Yeah, really appreciate the invite. Really good time today. So catch me every Tuesday on Collecting Weekly, every Friday on LWO. I won't be on again. I'll be on at Comic-Con, but maybe we'll, kind of tune in or kind of live stream in from the con. So we'll find out there, but it'll be on P-Rock's channel this Friday. Normally happens at 7:30 Pacific time, 10:30 Eastern time. So yeah,
that's 8:30 P-Rock time.
Yeah, that's a rough estimate.
We're trying to be a bit more consistent though, so let's let's shoot for that. But yeah, beyond that, on our own channel, new episodes of the Bargain Bin Bros, the She Said No podcast should be dropping here in the next few weeks. So check us out if you haven't already. And yeah, really good time today.
Thank you, man. Again, Marco16Fix on IG and YouTube, man. Thank you for being here. Everybody out there, has been a great show. Again, Comic Book Talk with Friends tomorrow night. Say What Wednesday. I think Uncivilized on Thursday. Figure Flex Friday. The rotation is full. A couple videos that are dropping. Justice League dropping. My Justice League Cyborg dropping. So it'll be this week, so expect that. But yeah, good times, fun times. Thank you guys for being here. Until next week, we will be back here at the same time, same channel for some more heat. And we'll probably be talking about the shit that didn't happen this week and how many people were mad and how many people were on Instagram, Twitter, different groups talking shit. So we'll be back for that next week. See you. Peace.